Hollywood.
Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
And we are off and running on a gorgeous Thursday afternoon here on the First Coast. I am set up. I'm Terry Norvelle, number one, set up live at the wonderful, beautiful hangout in Neptune Beach. You know it. You love it. Sliders Oyster Bar. Man, oh man. Place is already rocking. They do a happy hour about 3 to 6. We're here with our happy hour on air 4 to 6. Big times, big goings on at Sliders, the best seafood, the freshest seafood you can find anywhere. They feature on this menu right here, and we'll go over it a lot today on the program. The seafood is from Safe Harbor Seafood right down the street. You talk about from the dock to your plate. It don't get no fresher than that. We'll talk about all the specials, all the things they've got going on. How about Sliders specials today? Fried gator bites, fried green tomatoes. I love me some fried green tomatoes. Black and blue shrimp bowl, stone crab, crawfish, lobster, bacon burger. Yes, and yes. Thank you very much. Rock shrimp roll, on and on and on. Cajun grilled mahi sandwich. It never ends. The best seafood, the freshest seafood. You know it by now. You've heard me say it. Can be found at Sliders Oyster Bar. Johnny Pop at the Oyster Bar. And, of course, the famous Julie at the Liquor Bar. Indoor dining, outdoor dining. You can't go wrong at Sliders Oyster Bar. Zach Rothrock producing. We hope to hear from Patrick Young. He's traveling in and out. Patrick will be going, my goodness gracious, what a travel week for Patrick Young. He will be going back to Charlotte sometime on Friday for a full slate of SEC basketball games coming up on Saturday. We hope to hear from Pat and kind of preview those games a little bit. Okay, where are we going today on the program? Number one, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, help us grow the show. If you could take a quick second, whenever you see our show coming up, our previews, I try to get our show previews out by midday. Feel free to share everything. It really helps us grow the show. We certainly appreciate it. Share. All right, Jaguar talk. I thought, and we'll get into this, I thought it was good news for the Jacksonville Jaguars sitting at number 5. They've got the 5th overall pick. Abdul Carter's name has been thrown out now. And I know it's kind of around some potential injuries, but right now, all of a sudden, Abdul Carter, the Penn State rush in, his name is being thrown into that maybe top 1, 2, 3, 4 pick. You know the 2 quarterbacks are up in that 1, 2, 3, 4 pick. I contend, and we're going to talk about this today, I think every player that has their name seriously mentioned in the top 4, as the Jaguars sit at number 5, but every player that can get their name legitimately mentioned in the top 4, and we're in that period now. The draft is in late April, so there's going to be a lot of of, is this true? Is it not true? Is this a smokescreen? But I think the more players that can legitimately get their name thrown in as potential 1, 2, 3, or 4 picks in the NFL. Now, those players have to be positions that the Jaguars aren't going to take. The Jaguars aren't going to go draft. They're not looking to go draft Abdul Carter, I don't think. The Jaguars have so many holes in their roster, they have to be very frugal with regard to, okay, we've got to pick a few position groups that and this is the Jaguars saying that we think we can live without trying to bolster this year. I think rush end is one of those. I don't think the Jaguars need to go draft an Abdul Carter at rush end with Allen and Walker. So you've got Abdul Carter. You've got quarterback, certainly. The Jaguars are not in the market for the quarterback this draft cycle, but teams are. Other teams are. Some teams may look at Abdul Carter, and hopefully the teams that look at Abdul Carter, as I'm about to say it, from Penn State, the Penn State Russian, are behind pick number 5. Some teams may be going, man, we have to get that guy. That guy may be the next Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett is on the board, but Myles Garrett's 30-something years old right now. If you think you can get the same production out of Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter, and one of them's 22, one of them's 30, well, where do you go? I think it greatly benefits the Jaguars. The more players that can be, seriously considered taking pick 1, 2, 3, or 4, the more players that the Jaguars would not take, that helps the Jaguars' cause. That gives Jacksonville leverage. That gives them, I think their phone will ring more. Now, a guy like Mason Graham, okay, the Jaguars may take him. So the last thing they want is somebody at 4, 3, 2, or 1 wanting to take Mason Graham. But the two quarterbacks, Sanders and Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter could be on that. Well, what you want to do, what you want to happen if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars sitting at 5, you want to be sitting there, and it may even be more than, it may not be just a 2-team trade. It's not unheard of that 3 teams get together. Well, Jacksonville's at 5. Whoever we are, we're at 7, but we want Graham. We can get him at 5, but they want the quarter. You see where I'm going with that. I really think Abdul Carter getting thrown in this potential top 4 pick mix, I think it's good for the Jaguars. If you're sitting around and you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you want options. You want that phone to ring. You want teams that are worried that they can't get up high enough to get the player they want, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Go to 5. Call the Jaguars. And then the Jaguars could sit there and go, well, I see where you're at, my man. If Abdul Carter goes 1 and Travis Hunter goes 2 and somebody says, I got to have Mason Graham, the Jaguars wouldn't like that, but somebody takes Mason Graham 3 instead of 5, and then quarterback, well, you want a program, you want a franchise to panic. You want them to panic, and they start working a deal. It may be a 3-team deal. It may be a 2-team deal. With that, the opening of our show, we're going to talk a lot about that as we go. We're going to talk Gator football. Might there be a Spurrier rolling into Gainesville to save Gator football? We'll get into that. SEC basketball from last night. Big winners, a couple games, and a couple of losers from SEC basketball. So we'll get into that. I also want to get at some point into what I'm calling Bizarro World, as I'm waving to my buddies here at Sliders. Bizarro college football world. I started looking at, this is bizarre, man. If I ever told you, let's talk about, we're going to have a segment about Bizarro college football world, college sports world, I should say. Have you looked at the athletic program? And when I say athletic program, you're talking college football and college basketball. Okay, let's get that on the table. Have you looked at the athletic program the last year? Between, if you compared Vanderbilt athletics and Florida State Athletics. It's shocking. It is shocking. And I don't think any of us would have ever said, you know what, this is going to happen if you compared Vanderbilt and Florida State. We'll get into that as we go. The Patriots, holy cow, did you see the team rankings? The players on existing NFL teams, they do it every year. They fill out questionnaire cards, and they rank everything, locker room, weight room, plane. The Patriots, is it real? Is what they said about their team playing? Come on, Robert Kraft. My God. We'll get to that. Hopefully you've heard about it. If not, I'll clue you in. My goodness gracious, Robert Kraft, can you update the airline travel of the New England Patriots? We'll talk about that as we go. Oh, what a weird story out of international soccer. What a weird, this cannot happen. Terrible optics. Did you hear about, and I don't know what game it is. I'm going to say international soccer because it involves Lionel Messi. Messi, obviously one of the big names in soccer, one of the big names for the last 20 years in international world soccer. We all know that name, Messi, Messi. Huge name. Did you hear what happened in one of his recent games involving not really Messi, but the referee of the game? What the referee did, even if it was from a point of good, you can't. The optics of what the referee did recently in a soccer game involving Lionel Messi after you can't do it. We got to get into it. I just want to throw this out. I don't know how deep we'll get into this, if we will get into this. Did you see where it appears Aaron Rodgers wants to play another year? Obviously, the Jets debacle is behind him. Aaron Rodgers supposedly is telling teams, "Hey, man, if you bring me in, I got a wide receiver I'll bring with me." Okay, am I being? And we'll bring Zach Rothrock on here, our producer here in a moment. Zach, am I being cynical? But you've got supposedly 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers has let it be known to the league, hey, I want to play again. And listen, if you call me and my agent and you bring us in, I'm going to bring a 32-year-old wide receiver with me. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
What about that? How you doing, Zach?
I'm fantastic on this Oyster
what about
Thursday.
What about my tropical setting here with the tropical?
I like it. I think honestly, I think this is one of your better looks, better setups.
Better setups.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
You're damn right. And also, a blind squirrel walks up to his normal Thursday location on the patio and sliders, and there's a young couple, and they're about this much into a full pitcher of beer. When I said they're gonna be there a while.
There you go.
In my normal seat, right? So, hey, they're gonna be there a while, Zach. How you doing, man? What's new?
Oh, I'm good. And so you were speaking on the Devontae Adams thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it feels to me like if there's any team that he would fit in that would potentially want to bring him in, who wants or needs a new look at quarterback and could certainly use a new wide receiver, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They probably view themselves as appearing like that away. And, the Steelers, that's a team that I follow relatively closely. And, I'm not so sure. How would you feel
about that?
I'm not so sure that I would love it. I'm not so sure that I would hate it. I mean, I kind of just want to see how the Justin Fields experiment pans out. That's really kind of where I'm at with that. But he's probably going to end up somewhere. I don't think he's going to get forced into a retirement. I could see him potentially wanting to end up in Tennessee. And you do the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams thing for a year, and then you bring in whoever they draft as the rookie for a year. I could kind of see that panning out as well.
So you're saying you think that Aaron Rodgers, A, will play again, and B, in the NFL, and B, he will finally trade in the color green for the color gold, right? He's been green with Green Bay. He's been green with the Jets. He's going to go gold, is he? With the
I mean,
Steelers?
it really feels like it's just something that could really. They had a moment when the Steelers and the Jets played a year or two ago. Actually, it was when the Steelers and the Packers played when he was still on the Packers. Him and Tomlin kind of had a moment where they were like winking at each other when they were on the field. They were very flirt.
Exact. Can you see me?
Yeah, it was one of those. It was.
I can't really wink without doing this. This is my wink.
Right. So and I mean, there was also the rumor a week ago about how the Steelers reached out to the Jaguars about Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence, obviously he came out and he shut that down, as he should. He wants to. He just got paid to stay in Jacksonville. He wants to be a Jaguar. Yeah. But the fact that story came out, I think there's got to be some truth to it, and I think the truth would be that the Steelers are looking to do something different at quarterback. And that something different very well could be Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Does he have anything in the tank? Is there anything?
That's the thing. I don't think it will be successful. I don't think you're going to get a Tom Brady and Tampa Bay thing. I don't think he's going to go on a magical run. I don't think they're suddenly going to be able to knock off the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens just because they do that. But I think that could be their logic.
Yeah. Crazier things have happened, but it's interesting that it appears. I just think it's funny. It's not like Aaron Rodgers is having his agent call everybody and say, hey, it's a 2-for-1. You get me and young Randy Moss or young Michael Irvin, or he's saying, hey, I can bring a
over the hill gang.
I can bring a 32-year-old Devontae Adams with me. What, does that have any traction?
No, but if you're desperate, the Steelers have George Pickens and then just a bunch of CFL guys. So, they really are looking to add a new receiver.
Can you imagine seasoned veteran, knows how the NFL works? There's a stepping stone. You're a rookie. You pay your dues. You become can you imagine Aaron Rodgers dealing with George Pickens?
Well, yeah. I kind of I'm of the mindset that George Pickens, he definitely lashes out and does a bunch of things, but I think that he's almost like a Randy Moss type in the sense that Randy Moss plays when he wants to play, and so when Randy Moss was in Oakland and he knew how that season was going to go. He knew that it didn't matter how much effort he gave, that they were going to win 4 or 5 games and he wasn't going to get nothing. So you know what he did? He just didn't even try. He just says, whatever. But then he goes to New England a year later and suddenly he gets 23 touchdowns, NFL record-setting year. So I think that George Pickens, if he got a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and he got the real Aaron Rodgers, not the ayahuasca Rodgers, he got the real Aaron Rodgers that was locked in, I think that George Pickens would produce and have a career year.
All right, serious topic here. Let's spin off. Did you see, and this comes out this time every year, they, and I don't know, I guess the NFL does it because why else would the teams turn in the results unless they're told by the NFL? Did you see the grade your franchise grades came out? Have you seen those?
I heard you roast the New England Patriots about
it. Did you hear about it? Well, let me back up. It looked like the Jaguars got really – I don't think they went under a B. They had B's and A's by the players rating the franchise. What do you think of the locker room? What do you think of our state? Well, the only thing the Jaguars players rated, and I heard this a year ago, so this is at least consistent. The Jaguars, their family area, I think they called it. And I heard that a lot of the players, just the way the stadium is set up, maybe there's an area where the wives and the mothers can go post game. They don't think it's a good area. They don't think it's maybe it's not big enough. But the Jaguars scored high. Did you hear there were only a couple of Fs? One of the Fs was the New England Patriots gave New England Patriots travel plane. Robert Kraft, obviously, most of these guys own their own plane. They fly their team around on their own 747. They said they hate their plane. It's so old, it has ashtrays in it. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear the part about the ashtrays.
Yes,
that was a different era.
Smoking on American flights started becoming banned in the late 70s, 80s, and by 2000, literally the
Definitely
year 2000,
done, yeah.
it was gone. Now, I say it was sort of gone because there may have been a couple of years in the 80s where you could have a smoking area on a plane, but smoking has been gone in American airline travel, Zach, for God knows 35 years. So if you're getting on a plane and you're flying to your next game and you look around on the armrest and there are ashtrays, what does that logically tell you about the age of that airplane, Zach?
We're going to be smoking victory cigars. Let's go.
Would you want to get on that plane, for God's sakes?
I'd be somewhat skeptical, especially if the in-flight movie was We Are Marshall. It might make me think about some things. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be bad.
Yeah, that or, the movie Airplane that crashes.
That's one of my all-time favorites. I love that movie.
I would hate to get on that plane and you go, that would be like, I'm trying to think what that would be like. That would be like taking over. Okay. You said, okay, you're going to buy this sports franchise in downtown Jacksonville. We're going to sell you this basketball team. Okay. And with the team, you are also buying the arena. And if you go into the arena that you're about to buy and you take a tour of the concourses and you look around and there's a bunch of, everywhere you go, there's payphones, right? There's payphones in the wall. Put a quarter in, you go, when was this damn thing built?
I could potentially try to update some of those.
Yeah. When was this damn thing built? If you got payphones, for God's sakes. I thought that was I thought that was hilarious. I want to go to break, but I want to tease a topic we're going to talk about, a couple topics actually we're going to talk about. I really am serious. I thought it was good news when I woke up this morning or last night. I can't remember when the first time I saw it, but Abdul Carter, the rush in from Penn State, really good player.
Oh, yeah, very fast.
His name now he's got some potential injury stuff is one of the reasons his name was in the news about the upcoming draft. But his name is starting to really pop up, and it's a new name, right? His name hasn't been always around. People are saying, hey, Abdul Carter may be a top of the draft pick. He may be a 1, 2, 3, or 4. I mean, he may be, Myles Garrett is asking for a trade. He may be the next Myles Garrett. I mean, this guy's a good player. I thought, Zach, and I want your comments, and I also think every player that can get their name legitimately in the chatter. You know what I mean by chatter? We're still months away from the draft. If it's a positional player that the Jaguars don't really want to draft, I think the Jaguars benefit for all the more guys that can get in that chatter. The Jaguars aren't going to draft the first 2 quarterbacks. I think it's great that those names are in the chatter. Abdul Carter, they're not going to draft. They can't draft the position they've already got Hines Allen.
Why not?
Well, stay with me. You can on your, but most people think the Jaguars have to say, what areas do we really need help? You got to bypass some. I think the more names that can get in the mix, true or false, lie or not, that it's somebody the Jaguars would not draft. I think that helps the Jaguars. They sit there at 5, and their phone somebody at 7 may go, damn, I've got to have Abdul Carter, right? Somebody at 6 or 3 may say, damn, I've got to have Cam Ward. And you know what? I better work. So, it's not uncommon for 3 teams to get together on a trade, right? And you say, hey, you got 5, I want 3, but number 7's got a guard you want. Right? You can get a multiple. I think the more names that get mixed into that 1, 2, 3, or 4 that aren't Jaguar particular names, I think that helps the Jaguars. It helps that phone ring. What are your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, it definitely does. I mean, the best thing that would happen for the Jaguars would be a quarterback to shoot up the board, because I think that's the one position that you can definitely X that out.
A third quarterback?
Yeah, exactly, right. Because
we know
Ward and
Ward,
Shador going ahead. But yeah, if a third one were to shoot up, which I don't think is likely.
Absolutely agree. I don't even know who that guy would be, but you are so right, Zach. If the combine wraps up in the next 4 days, and then individual workouts. If somebody, maybe a Jackson Dart, I don't know who it is, but if another quarterback shot up, that only helps the Jaguars, because then you would have 3 quarterbacks at a position. The Jaguars aren't drafting quarterback, but they want that. They want that being in the mix, because they want somebody calling them going, "Hey, you're at 5. I damn sure want Jackson Dart, and I'm scared he's going to slip to 7, and we ain't going to get him." Zach, I think your description right there is my whole premise of this topic. I think that's what the Jags need at 5. The more guys they get shoved into the man, if the Jacksonville Jaguars had their way, I don't care. I don't know who's the authority on the draft, but if a week before the draft, the authority of all authorities said, "Let me tell you something. There are 4 picks before Jacksonville, but there are 9 quality picks that could go in the 1, 2, 3, or 4." That's great for the Jaguars, I think.
Yeah. If just like the added unknown of not knowing who it is, and that's going to make more teams get antsy and want to trade up for et cetera player. So I mean, yeah, if they could in theory trade back and still get Will Campbell, the offensive lineman from LSU, like that would be pretty optimal for the Jaguars for sure. But I mean, as far as Abdul Carter goes, I mean, a guy like that could be combine fool's gold, because I mean, he's just one of those guys that, he just kind of, I just don't necessarily remember him being brought up. I watched a few Penn State games, and maybe I did notice him. I don't really remember like taking like serious note of him. But I mean, yeah, he's got these metrics where he's got like 25 pressures under 2.5 sacks on the season.
Yeah.
Or under 2.5 seconds rather on the season. And so they anticipate he's going to run about a 4.3 40 time, which is just unreal for a guy of his size. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. So like, I get it, right? I get like the ceiling type of career that guy could have. And I personally am intrigued by that. And I think if you're the Jaguars, you can't have enough good edge rushers in the NFL. The Eagles have proved that.
I don't think they could grab him and pay that type of money at the same position group. They're already paying a boatload of money to Hines Allen and Walker on a team that needs a lot of help.
Yeah, I understand. So I think in this scenario, you just wouldn't give the 50-year option to Walker. You let Walker walk in this scenario.
Okay.
And I personally, I'm not going to call him a bust, but I personally feel like I've seen enough where I would feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I still I'll go to my grave thinking that the Jaguars misused Walker. To me, and I think we got Patrick on, and maybe we'll get Pat on the other. Let's put him down and put Pat on the other side if we can after the break.
Good thing.
Can we do that, Zach? Yeah. And kill his audio. What I would do with Walker is, I thought Walker, when I watched him at Georgia, he should be your inside, not end, your inside, undersized, quick, get after the quarterback. I think the Jaguars are using him wrong. That's just my thought. All right, let's take a break. One segment in. We've got a long way to go, a lot of good topics to get to. We want to look at SEC hoops basketball from last night. Boy, a couple of big winners last night and a couple of losers. We've got other topics to get to, including what an awkward, I know it doesn't matter, it's international soccer, but when I describe what happened in an international soccer game involving the referee, the soccer referee, and Lionel Messi, I want you folks to just imagine if this happened in a high-leverage NFL football game or even a high-leverage college football game. Boy, what an awkward situation for a referee and what he decided to do after a match as he officiated a match involving Messi, that one-name soccer guy that's one of the best in the world. That a whole lot more. We've got to get to Gene Hackman. What an actor, and a couple of the most iconic sports movie scenes ever filmed involved Gene Hackman, who passed away. It was reported yesterday, I think it was several days ago, at the age of 95. A little bit of a shady situation on how he passed. He was 95. But Gene Hackman, one of the great American actors of all time, and he was tied into great American sports cinema, including 2 special scenes from one movie I want to talk about on the other side. Stay with us, all that and more. It's a Thursday. Man, I'm set up in a beautiful location at our Thursday home, Sliders Oyster Bar, featuring the wonderful, wonderful Safe Harbor Seafood. Here's the entire menu and a special lunch special that's still being served: crawfish, lobster, bacon burger, rock shrimp roll, Cajun mahi sandwich, on and on and on. If it's seafood that you crave, you can't go wrong by getting down to Neptune Beach and visiting Sliders Oyster Bar.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming, from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. This place, Sliders Oyster Bar, we're in the season. It's always a fun place to hang out. in the dead time of winter. Okay, we're Florida boys, and we kind of Florida our winter. But man, spring is here. Spring is just about. By the way, as we welcome back the Young and Norvelle show right here from Sliders Oyster Bar on a Thursday, the time change next Sunday, March 9th. Thank you very much. But look at this menu. Perfect time to get down. Cocktails, craft cocktails. The liquor bar here at Sliders, they're always concocting a new cocktail that's kind of beach vibe. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy the drinks, the food, the hospitality, just a fun hangout. Sliders Oyster Bar featuring safe harbor seafood, everything you can imagine when it comes to seafood. If you like it, they got it, and they've got it prepared the way you want it. Zach Rothrock producing. I'm Terry Norvelle. I think Patrick Young, Pat was with us. He's going to call us back. Want to get into SEC basketball. Boy, some moving and shaking games last night in the SEC, and hopefully Pat will call us back. Boy, impressive win by Auburn. They threw 106 on the board. A pretty good Ole Miss team. Auburn just toyed with them. Ole Miss closed it to 6 at one point around halftime. But Auburn, man, they look like they might be peaking at the right time. The number one team in the country. Auburn throws up 106 points in really an easy win. Kentucky, did you see how the Wildcats ended up closing out the game and winning over Oklahoma last night? The block that may have killed Oklahoma's season, a one-point game, I think it was like 83-82. Oklahoma is racing down court. Nobody stops the ball. The Oklahoma ball handler goes up, and for all practical purposes, and Zach, I don't know if you saw the highlight, for all practical purposes, as the clock is ticking down, my man has taken his 2 Michael Jordan foul line steps. He's about to throw down a one-handed slam and win the game at the buzzer and keep Oklahoma's hopes alive. Kentucky, I think it was Bradshaw, came out of Williams, actually. It was Williams, came out of nowhere, a clean block, game over. Blocked the dunk, game over. Good, solid win for Kentucky. Probably the nail in the coffin for Oklahoma. And also last night, man, back-to-back top 25 wins now for Vanderbilt. They have punched their ticket. Vanderbilt's in March Madness. They're definitely going to get in. They beat Ole Miss, ranked about 24th, their previous game. And then last night, Vanderbilt knocks off 12th-ranked Texas A&M. Huge win for Vandy. They are in March Madness, pretty much guaranteed. Zach Rothrock, speaking of Vanderbilt, and speaking of our show rundown, and speaking of one of the topics on our show rundown, Bizarro World, Vanderbilt, and I'm not picking at FSU, but it's a good comparison. Vanderbilt, you know everything about Vandy. Charter member of the SEC. Back in the day, in the 30s and 40s, Vanderbilt was a SEC college football power. Vanderbilt literally was a power. Vanderbilt, a high academic school. They're a charter member of the SEC. Okay, they're as old as Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia. They're a charter member of the SEC. But Vanderbilt obviously has, what do we call it, Zach? Vanderbilt has some hurdles to cross that other programs don't. They've got very high academics, and that's held Vanderbilt back.
Yeah, you got to actually go to class there.
They got to go to class. Stupid class gets in the way. Don't you hate when academics get in the way of athletics? It's hate it. But did you ever think you would look at a football, basketball season and compare Vanderbilt athletics to Florida State athletics, and Vanderbilt's wiped the floor with FSU?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most teams probably have. I mean, I do appreciate that you take a chance to dunk on FSU here, but I feel like almost every team had a better football
but I mean, every team is not Vanderbilt historically.
Correct.
Vanderbilt has always struggled athletically to a degree. They're in the best athletic conference, and they've got higher academic standards. But look at Vanderbilt. If I told you 5 years ago, if I said, hey, Zach, there's going to be a season coming up very soon where Vanderbilt football will win 5 more games in the regular season than FSU. Vanderbilt went 7-6. FSU went 2-10. So,
yeah,
I mean, they won 5 more games. Vanderbilt won a bowl game. Vanderbilt beat one of the 5 bluest of blue blood football programs in the history of college football, Alabama. Vanderbilt not only beat Alabama this year, Vanderbilt beat Alabama and Auburn in the same year. Vanderbilt also in football beat not one but 2 other ACC programs. They beat Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt beat Georgia Tech, the same team that beat FSU to open the season, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Now, that's football, Zach. I don't think anybody would have ever believed if I said all that. Oh, by the way, let's turn it to college basketball March Madness. Vanderbilt is a lock to get into March Madness. They went 7-6, won a bowl game, did all those things in football I just told you. They're going to March Madness. FSU's not going to March Madness. Bizarro world, my man. Bizarro world.
Yeah, and you would honestly think that in the day and age where NIL and the transfer portal become open, you would think it would almost be the opposite. But like you would think that the teams like FSU would benefit from that, and that Vanderbilt would sputter. But somehow or another, they have prevailed, and FSU is. I mean, I don't think anyone saw their 2024 coming.
Man, they have fallen off of the sports athletic map. I mean, they'll be good in baseball. They got the right coach, but baseball's baseball. They've been good. They've won national titles in softball. That ain't going to do it. If FSU has gone underground with college football and basketball, and those are your 2 brand sports, does it not feel like you haven't seen the FSU logo in 10 years? When does it feel like you've seen anyone on TV talking about FSU sports or the damn logo? Zach, it's unbelievable.
Probably since they had Jameis Winston, which was about 11 years ago, yeah.
Yes, which was. All right, Zach, I want to bring this topic up here before we forget. It's a soccer topic. We don't talk a lot of soccer here. Awkward situation that happened in international soccer a couple of days ago. I'm not sure what exact day, but very recent. And I want you, when I tell the story, think if this happened in the NFL. Think if this happened in big-time college football. So, you know Messi, Lionel Messi. I think his first name's Lionel, right? Lionel Messi.
Yeah, they might be Lionel, but yeah.
Lionel, Messi.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, he's one of those. There's always, at any given moment in the world, there's 2 or 3 one-name soccer stars, right? There's always that one-name guy, Messi. If you say Messi, you know you're talking about. So he's one of the greats. So Messi and his team, and I guess it's international, Messi's team is playing a game the other day, and the game ends. And just imagine this: if one of the white hat referees in the NFL did this to an NFL player. So the game ends, Zach, and the lead referee, I think there's only one lead referee in a soccer match, right? There's only one guy that does the card.
Yeah, the one with the card, right.
Well, that referee, when the game ended, he runs over to Messi, and cameras catch it. Anybody watching catches it. He asks Messi for an autograph.
Might as well.
Zach, you can't do that. The optics of that, the way it looked, you could you imagine
a
game in and the white hat referee runs over to Tom Brady and as he's winning another and asks for an the optics.
If you look at Twitter at the right time, you would think that is what happened.
Wouldn't that, but you get my point. I know you're being smart there, but you can't do that. Now, a spinoff to this story, and I don't think this makes it right or wrong. Supposedly, and I don't know if this was the agent, the referee, whoever trying to cover, they said, well, he was asking for an autograph for his like a family member that is incapacitated. That and I'm missing the word here, Even that, you cannot do that on the pitch. Soccer term, by the way. On the pitch.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Front. Zach, you can't do that. Can you imagine a big-time game in the NFL? The game ends. The teams are shaking hands. They're still on the field. The officials, the head referee gets caught on camera handing Patrick Mahomes a pen and saying, "Can I get your autograph?" My God, am I missing? The optics of that are terrible.
Oh yeah, the internet will catch on fire if that happened.
Zach, you can't do that.
Yeah, it displays potential bias if you're asking for autographs from one of the players.
Oh, by the way, the referee's been suspended for 6 months, and one more time he's knocked out. But yeah, you cannot do that. Maybe behind closed quarters, maybe with a third party that says, "Hey, this referee Joe Smith wanted me to ask you. His nephew is suffering from XYZ," and there was some type of. But Zach, the minute I read this, I went, "Oh!" And in the gambling era we're in sport, you can't do that, can you?
I guess not, because he got suspended for 6 months.
Yeah. Oh. By the way, this date in sports history, wanted to get this out. 1987, Zachary. College football, the NCAA said, "Okay, we've had enough. We've threatened. We've talked about it. But SMU football, you just got the death penalty. The one and only death. They were given the death penalty. They took their program and said, you can't play for a couple of years." You remember that? Did you see the you weren't born, but have you seen the 30 for 30 on that?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I also don't see how it was death when they came back a few years later.
Yeah, not so much death. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it took them about 30 years to really recover from that. I mean, they really just this past year got back to prominence. So, I mean,
it really did.
Yeah, it was a whole generation that they were just gone.
And they were in the early 80s. SMU was uncovered to really be cheap. I mean, and I'm not even sure they fought it too much. They got popped where the big oil guys, they wanted to be really, and SMU, by the way, is a Texas school. They've got as much money as anybody. I mean, they're alumni and all. They are old family oil guys from generation. They got tons of money. Well, they looked up in the early to mid 80s and they said, "Okay, we are tired of being the Texas little brother, the Texas A&M little brother, the Oklahoma little brother." Way back in the day, Arkansas was in the Big 8, I think it was, right? So they said, "We're going to win." And they won. They won a lot, but they got investigated. They got popped one time and told, "Don't do it again." And I think, and if you saw the 30 for 30, it's very poignant. It's very true. I think the first time the NCAA, as they were saying the words, "Hey, SMU, we're going to pop you here. Don't do it again." Before they said don't do it again, they were already cheating the second time. Right? So
I mean, might as well.
The second go around, the NCAA, first and only time, they said, "My God, we've been threatening a death penalty," and they popped them with the death penalty. Now, in the 80s, Florida was on and off probation, and things got a little squirrely in Gainesville. People say, "Well, it was little things and big, well, blah 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 blah." There was talk in the 80s that Florida better tighten up, or they were going to get in the death penalty.
It came close.
And I lived through that. The old death penalty, my man.
Yeah, stories of flights that were going and getting certain players situated with things they might need potentially.
What is it? Rubbing Drayson, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That was kind of the SEC's model. Right?
Yeah. I think the Patriots adopted that as well.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. All right, Zach, we're going to go to break real quick. I want to tease this story. This topic came out probably a good month ago, and it came out, it went back underground, and I called some friends of mine in Gainesville, and they said it's probably going to happen, but there are some hurdles. It being Billy Napier was in the process of bringing Steve Spurrier Jr. onto the staff as a offensive analyst. And this was about a month or so ago, and it kind of got out, but it wasn't finished. And my sources told me, well, the fact that it's leaked, and I don't know if this was contractually or not, it hasn't officially happened. It can't happen. Well, it has officially happened now. Steve Spurrier Jr., 53-year-old son of Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach, is now has joined the Florida coaching staff as one of the offensive analysts. I think that's a big deal. I think that's a real big deal. Let's take a break, come back on the other side. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And you probably don't know a lot about Steve Spurrier Jr. They call him Bubba. He goes by Bubba Spurrier. He's 53-year-old husband, father. Gosh darn, I've had him on my show 2 or 3 times in person. Know him a little bit from being on, in-person shows with me. He and his beautiful wife, they've got like 6 kids. They're a great family. He's 53 years old. You may not know his resume, and it's impressive. I think this could be a big deal. Napier may have hit one, and Napier may have had one under hiding a little bit that may really help him. We'll talk about that. Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, joining the Florida coaching staff. What are the ramifications, and where could this go? I'll give you my thoughts. I'd love to hear your chat thoughts as well. Break time here as we're slowly wrapping up hour number 1, the Young and Norvelle Show, coming to you live from Sliders Oyster Bar.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry. We still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
All right, back we are Thursday, sitting on the patio as we love to do on a Thursday at Sliders Oyster Bar down in Neptune Beach. I've been here a long time. Want to thank everybody here at Sliders, ownership, management, servers, bartenders. They have always been hospitable to us. We love hanging out at the most awesome seafood restaurant in North Florida. I guarantee you that. We're in Neptune Beach. Sliders is right down the street from Safe Harbor Seafood. We're talking where the seafood is brought off the boat. I mean, it is that fresh from the boat to your plate. You can't get much fresher than that. Sliders Oyster Bar, the best seafood, the freshest seafood. You will find, check it out, test me out, and tell me how right I was. If you don't know about it, get to know Sliders Oyster Bar. We've got some stuff to get to here as we wrap up hour number one and get into hour number two. I definitely want to talk about Steve Spurrier Jr. Might a Spurrier save Gator football? Again, get into that, but I want to hit a couple quick headlines. Word is now ESPN is reporting that Travis Kelce has said he will come back in 2025, so another Kelce season for Kansas City. Looks like he has made his mind up. I think management, ownership, coaching staff kind of said, hey, take some days off. It didn't appear that he took many. So Travis Kelce looks like he will be back in 2025. Said he didn't want to go out the way they did, they being the Chiefs. Looks like the NFL salary cap, I don't think it's a big deal. It is set now. The highest it has ever been. The salary cap will be $279.2 million. I think that thing increases every year, so I'm not sure how big that is. And a fun story that is making the rounds. I saw it about 2 hours ago on ESPN while I was watching some highlights about sports today. You'll see it tonight. And a little fun story. We're obviously kicking off golf season. I think the Florida Swing starts this week. Next week, maybe Bay Hill. I'm not a big golf follower. And then, of course, the Players' Championship is like 2 weeks down the road. So I think we just got out of the California Swing, and we're now coming into the Florida Swing. So there's a tournament, I think, going on right now. By the way, the guy, Zach, did you see the guy yesterday, I guess it was? Or, yeah, maybe one of those 5-round tournaments. Guy shot 59. Did you see? It's only the 15th time in the history of an official PGA Tour. Guy went 15th time anybody's gone under 60. How about that?
Right.
See that?
I've gotten that on the front nine before.
Yeah, front nine, 60 front nine. I'm with you. But kind of a cute story, and they're playing it on ESPN and playing it. I saw it today. Whatever that tournament is, and I think it's the first tournament of the Florida Swing. You see this happen a lot, particularly in Florida. You'll see golf tournaments being played or just golf rounds, and the golfers will come up and there'll be an alligator or two on the course. You've seen that on the fairway or near the green. You've seen that, right? There's water all over these golf courses, and they get out of there. The Gators get out in the sun a little bit. Well, this was the tournament that's, televised, the big tournament. So one of the and this was the PGA tournament that's going on right now. So they show a clip. One of the golfers. Now this is the big tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big tour. So one of the golfers sees it looked like it was like 20, 30 yards off of the green, in front of the green. So obviously it's causing a commotion. The Gators not doing anything, but I mean, people see it and all, and they're not going to really do anything. There's no real trauma about to happen. But So one of the golfers in the foursome kind of walks over with a club and kind of scooches it, pokes at it a little bit, nothing mean or anything. And, of course, that scares the gator, and he scurries to the water. Well, the golfer that scooched the gator was Billy Horschel, who played golf at the University of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So the big story is gator ruffles gator.
Gator on gator action, huh?
Yeah, it was gator on gator crime, basically. But, I'm getting back into
thank God it wasn't a cock, That'd have been bad.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Beautiful Thursday. Everything's going good, and you have to throw that in.
I couldn't help it.
You had to throw that in. I think I'm going to tip my hat to Billy Napier. He may be on to something now. And let me back up. You may or may not know the resume and the coaching resume of Steve Spurrier Jr. Yeah, that guy. The son, the eldest son with his name, Steve Spurrier. He gets named today officially, and this has been in the works, but there was some contractual stuff. I was told to keep it quiet. It kind of popped out. So anyway, Zach, am I reading too much into this? Steve Spurrier Jr., and he goes by Bubba. He's always been known as Bubba. So Bubba Spurrier. He's 53 years old. He's been a college football coach at least the Division I level for 30 years. This isn't just, hey, let me wrap my hand around my son and give him a cush job, right? So
yeah, not a Steve Belichick situation.
No. Steve Spurrier, Bubba Spurrier, he got started in coaching, I think, way back when Coach Spurrier was at Florida. He was like a grad assistant, which is where you go to start coaching, right?
Yeah.
He's
always been
played at Duke. He played at Duke. Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, played football at Duke. He had like 25 catches in his career, so he wasn't a star player. But he obviously knew he wanted to get into coaching, go play big-time college football. He caught 25. I mean, a lot of guys don't catch 25 passes in college football, right? So he gets started under his dad at Florida. And then at one point, he followed Coach Spurrier to South Carolina. And he he worked his way to where he was a position coach. He was a receivers coach for multiple years. He was at South Carolina. We're talking SEC, South Carolina. At one point, he goes to Oklahoma, leaves his dad, which he needed to do, right? At some point, you kind of probably need to get out of there. He coaches offense, receivers at Oklahoma under Bob Stoops. So his lineage at this point is Steve Spurrier, that guy, Bob Stoops, who obviously he's a defensive coach, but he was on the Oklahoma staff. He then at one point hooks up and spends multiple years with Mike Leach. Mike Leach was one of his – I mean, Mike Leach was a offensive genius, right?
Oh, yeah.
He might not have had enough good players to beat you, but Mike Leach knew offense. Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, goes to Washington State for 4 or 5 years under Mike Leach, follows Mike Leach to Mississippi State. At this point, he's worked his career to where he's receivers coach, he's co-offensive coordinator, he's passing game coordinator. I'm doing all this to paint the picture. This isn't just your name's Spurrier, go be a coach. Here's $400,000, be the tight end coach. I mean, this guy, he kept going. Mike Leach obviously tragically died several years ago. We all remember that. At the end of a season, Mike Leach died. Well, Steve Spurrier Jr. has never got out of coaching. His last 2 years, and this wasn't a great program, he was the offensive coordinator at Tulsa. This guy is a legitimate coach that has been under legitimate offensive masterminds. He now took a position as grad assistant at Florida. Stay with me, Zach, because I want your comments. He's 53 years old, comes back. Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, his resume, he doesn't need an analyst job. He's not trying to save a career. He didn't have a DUI or punch a player and trying to rehab his career, right? Steve Spurrier Jr., you wonder if Napier has a bigger plan, but my overall point that I'm trying to make here is I don't see Bubba Spurrier starting on the staff as a analyst, which he is, I don't see him having little response. I see Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, having a lot of responsibility and pull because he knows offense. I think this is, if I'm Gator Nation, I think this is a big deal. Napier might be finally saying, hey, man, can use some help. And it wouldn't surprise me if Florida is good on offense this year, that next year Bubba Spurrier is named, hey, man, we're going to bump up Bubba Spurrier to our offensive coordinator. I think this is a big deal and a potential good deal for Billy Napier. I know, Zach, I've thrown a lot at you. What do you digest from all that?
No, yeah, that's good. Well, I know that one of the biggest concerns across Gator Nation, every time I see them talk about the football team, is who is going to be the play caller. It's kind of been a phantom, like no one really knows who the play caller is, sort of thing, and everyone wants to keep it under wraps. So, maybe this is the way to introduce him to the staff, and Steve Spurrier Jr. Eventually, and it could happen very quickly, becomes the play caller, and everyone knows the play caller. Yeah.
And let me cut you off. A lot of people are probably hearing and digesting, well, Terry, hey, Einstein Norvelle, Napier just named Russ Callaway basically is real or not real offensive coordinator. Why wouldn't you just name? Well, let me back you up. When I started hearing about this, I was told it's probably going to happen, but it can't be announced. To me, there was probably some contractual stuff there that he might have had a contract that he couldn't leave or get out of or until X date.
Yeah.
And he agreed in principle, but it's not done until you sign. I'm going to back up again, and I want your thoughts. I do not in any way, shape, or form see not 33-year-old, 53-year-old Bubba Spurrier becoming a offensive analyst with just a little bit, well, you can help us here and there, but Bubba Spurrier could have 1 million D1 jobs, assistant coach job right now across the country. He doesn't need a grad assistant save my career job. To me, that right there says there's something bigger. I'm excited. I think Bubba Spurrier will have a lot of input on the offense this year. I'm ecstatic about this move.
Oh yeah, everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. It almost feels like it's the type of move you would make because if you were already the offensive coordinator at a program like Tulsa, you're moving to a more prestigious program in Florida, in the SEC, but you're moving down a position. But it feels like you would take that position under the understanding that, or the notion that you want to progress within that team. You want to become the offensive coordinator. You want to potentially maybe become the head coach. Right.
Yeah. When something opens and maybe it wasn't, the contracts didn't jive up. They couldn't offer him because he was still under contract until, I don't know, March 20th or whatever. Here's your boy, Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier. 94 to 98, Florida grad assistant. Coach Spurrier was still the head coach in Gainesville. So he spent 4 years as a grad assistant, and that's where all these guys start, right? If you want to get in the coaching game, you start as a GA, a grad assistant. 99 to 2001, Steve Spurrier Jr., Bubba Spurrier, wide receiver coach, Oklahoma. 2002, 2003, 2 short years, he was the wide receiver coach of the Washington Redskins in the NFL. We know that didn't finish good for the head ball coach, but that was 2 years of NFL coaching. I don't care how you slice it. A lot of guys that did a lot worse. 2004, Arizona, offensive assistant. 05-08, during Coach Spurrier's years as the head coach in South Carolina, 05 to 08, Bubba Spurrier was the wide receiver coach at South Carolina. 09 to 10, he got promoted passing game coordinator, wide receiver. And you always look for titles. Titles are what get you jobs. You need more title, right, to climb the ladder.
Yeah. 2011,
he added another title at South Carolina, passing game coordinator, wide receiver coach, RC, running game coordinator, I'm assuming. 2012 to 15.
If you're the passing coordinator and the running coordinator, aren't you just the offensive coordinator?
Offensive coordinator, right?
I would think so, right?
And obviously the head ball coach was quasi the head OC everywhere he's at. So
yeah, he was a play caller.
Anyway, and then 12 to 15, still at South Carolina with Coach Spurrier. 2016, he goes back to Oklahoma, a guy by the name of Bob Stoops. That's not a bad name to have on your resume. He gets 2017, he goes to Western Kentucky, and they're not a power, but this is Division I football. Assistant head coach, quarterback coach. 2018 and 19, he goes to Washington State, where a guy named Mike Leach is the head coach. He's the wide receiver coach for Mike Leach. He follows Mike Leach when Leach went from Washington State to Mississippi State. 20 to 22, he's the outside wide receiver coach. And Mike Leach and the boys threw the ball better than anybody, as good as anybody. Mike Leach passes away tragically. We all remember that. Steve Spurrier Jr., 2023, goes to Tulsa. Kevin Wilson, who's a pretty good offensive mind, was the head coach there. They didn't have any players. He was the OC quarterback coach, and he stayed in that position 2024 until he now goes to Florida as the GA. Well, that resume says nothing that you have to go restart your career. There's got to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? Why would he could go to Kentucky, he could go to Southern Miss, he could go to Texas Tech, right? I mean, that's a good he doesn't need to be a GA right now, offensive assistant at Florida. Got to be a bigger reason, right?
I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think that he's looking to not necessarily follow in his dad's footsteps, but he probably wants to become at least the OC here, if not the head coach here, being Florida. I mean,
but the overall 3,000-mile look down to me is Bubba Spurrier knows offense. And Bubba Spurrier has been involved in a bunch of SEC games and Pac-12 games under fire as part of the offensive game plan under guys like Mike Leach, for God's sakes. I think Billy Napier needs a lot of help. And I don't know what you're going to call his title. I guess it's just offensive assistant, analyst, as they call him now. It appears to me that Steve Spurrier Jr. is going to be Billy Napier's right-hand man. And I'm fine with that. I want to see if that would work. I don't know. I think Napier needs that.
I feel like, not a coaching tree. So a coaching tree would be like what Nick Saban has, right? Where he's had all the assistants. But I feel like maybe the opposite of that, I guess the coaching roots, it's going to be really difficult to find someone with better coaching roots than Steve Spurrier Jr. Because you got to include his dad, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
And then he's also coached under Bob Stoops and coached under Mike Leach. Yeah. So I would have to imagine that he soaked up and has learned a few things along the way from those guys.
You would think of all the hours, live bullets, real game. He's been involved with a headset on in a game in the SEC and the Pac-12, SEC under his dad, SEC under Mike Leach, Pac-12 under Mike Leach. Bullets are flying. You've got 22 seconds to get a play call in. You need to feel the game. You got to have you got to feel the rhythm of the game. He's done this a lot, man. He's been under fire a lot. I think it's a big hire for the Gators. I think Billy Napier might have finally. He didn't come out and say this guy's going to be my right hand, but you would think in this setup, if the setup is what I think it is, you would think that Bubba Spurrier wouldn't have taken this position without saying, okay, now when the bullets start flying in the second quarter and you send into play, if you're bringing me here to do this position, if I tap you on the shoulder and say, Coach, I don't think we should run a double reverse pass right here. I think we're smashing the ball down their throat. you've got to let me do me too, because I don't think Steve Spurrier Jr. at 53 needs to take a perfunctory job unless he gets some, hey, I've got some real responsibility here, and it's going to help my career. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think he's looking at it as a catapulting job. My one question would be though, so if he were on offense and the offense were to fail and they got to bring out the punting unit, could he have the awareness and the wherewithal to count and understand, make sure there's 11 guys on that punting unit?
Don't know.
And not
and
12?
That's a great question.
Uh-huh.
I've had Bubba Spurrier sitting next to me on a show twice in my career. I never asked him to count to 12. I never
Yeah,
said,
I mean,
Bubba,
they got to
could
have
you
someone
do-
that can.
I've never had him say, well, Bubba, I'm going to turn over the show to you. Can you coherently and slowly count from 0 to 12 to prove? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to consistently do that, particularly on the punts. And I mean, if Florida wants to get over the hump, they got to be able to do that. If you can't do that, you can't get over the hump. They never will.
Yeah, that damn. And I don't know if the twister mat doesn't. They had the twister mat last year, right? They had the mat on the ground.
That's good. I mean, it's good to know that wheels are in motion, that they have identified, hey, this is a problem.
yeah.
That's the first step, is to admit that you have a problem. So I'm glad that they have a process. Wheels are in motion.
Hey, it really is. Hi, my name is Terry, and I'm an alcoholic, right? That's number one. Right?
Right, yeah.
But what is, and Florida's not the only program, I'm being serious for a split second here. Florida's not the only program having I call it the twister mat, the mat that has the 12, the 11, it has the 11 circles.
That's a good
and
concept.
Everybody, that's been done a lot in football. Florida implemented it last year, and they still had issues. What's the next step? What's after the twister mat? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they got to do like a roll call, like kindergarten, where you make sure you got a hand up.
Or they have bracelets. They have arm bracelets tied to all
multicolored wristband. Yeah, so you could have orange for offense, blue for defense, and white for special teams. And sometimes you might wear all three.
Hey, listen, everybody on punt coverage team has to wear the white tied to the other 11 guys, because we need 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to find your accountability, buddy.
Tied to 10 guys. We need 11 total.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, mark this now. Now the concern, if you're Steve Spurrier Jr., if you're Bubba, is if you come in and everybody's going to know, you can't miss that name, right? All other coaching staffs in the country are going to know Bubba Spurrier's there on the offensive side. If Florida stinks it up on offense, well, you get part of the stench. You get part of the stench. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it comes with, and I think that's part of the reason.
And Napier gets fired. You're part of the stench. You get thrown out with bathwater.
I think that's part of the reason why they haven't made it clear who's been the play caller the past couple of years, because they don't want all the stench to fall on one person.
And I think Coach Spurrier has done a really good job since he's retired and gone back to Gainesville. He makes some comments here and there, and hell, I've even talked to him in person about this. He doesn't camp outside the head coach's office.
Yeah,
he doesn't camp out. He doesn't camp out. But part of bringing Bubba Spurrier to the Florida offensive side of the ball, you're counting on even via osmosis. You're getting some of the head ball coaches' knowledge and schemes, and hopefully
like his aura is there.
And hopefully part of his, part of Spurrier's greatness was he had, and this is so undefinable, but Spurrier in the battlefield, when you had 30 seconds to call a play, he had it a lot of times, right?
Oh yeah, he
had that it feel.
Yeah,
he could say, okay.
Few play callers have a better feel of the game and flow of what is needed in the moment than Coach Spurrier, for sure.
Think about and Bubba Spurrier, a lot of his full-time Division I position coaching duties, he was the wide receiver coach for a lot of these. He was the wide receiver coach in the NFL. He's a wide receiver coach at South Carolina. He was a wide receiver coach at Oklahoma. He's a wide receiver coach at Washington State with Leach and then Mississippi State. Think about some of the wide receivers he coached, hands-on.
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey.
Think about some of them, Pharaoh Cooper and Alshon Jeffrey, and we forget about some of those Mississippi State guys, but there's a lot of Mississippi State guys that caught 80 and 90 balls in a season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mike Leach's offense. So, I mean, he should clearly have an understanding for the air raid, the pass.
Yeah. And
that's what
I could see if Bubba Spurrier was 64 years old with the career he's got, and as he's climbed the ladder, and he's a legitimate 25-year position head coach, a position coach in Division I football, he could get a job anywhere, all over the country. If he was 65 and he took this offensive assistant job in Gainesville, I would go, you know what? He's probably decided he and his wife want to retire in Gainesville. He spent time there. He loves it. He's just going back to dinosaur the rest of his life out, or elephant. The elephant goes home at some point. Well, right. He's 53, and the times I've been, he's a young 53, meaning I think this guy wants to coach hands-on, real coach for 15 more years. It's not like I don't think at 53, which is not 63 or 73, I think at 53, he's not saying, honey, let's go ahead and start getting our retirement plan going. Let's go back to get. He's 53.
Oh, yeah, you can realistically coach for 20 more years at that age.
I think he's got 15 years of high-level coaching, and maybe goes and steals if this position turns Florida's offense, and 3 years from now, he was the number one offense coordinator, he may be the head coach at Kentucky.
Something like that,
at 56. Yeah. At 56. I don't think this is Bubba Spurrier going off to retire in Gainesville. I think he thinks this is a big deal. I'm excited about this. I think this might be something, because I told everybody that would listen on social media, on this show, and I'm not going to back off. I never back off when I hit stuff, and I never back off when I miss stuff. I was screaming for Napier to get fired the first half of the season. I thought he was over his head. I think he didn't have it. But I threw in one caveat. I said the only way I'd keep him around is if he figures out he needs help and he needs to fire himself up. And it didn't appear like he did. This might be him subtly firing himself up, because he's not bringing Steve Spurrier Jr., Steve Spurrier's number one son, he's not bringing him to his staff to just have a perfunctory, just show up when you can, bring some donuts and come to some meetings. That I guarantee, I can tell you that is not the reason. He's bringing him because, in a weird way, I think Napier's saying, I need some help, and I'm going to trust this guy.
Yeah, and you got to be somewhat confident. Because he has to be viewed as a potential successor. I mean, he's just exactly. I mean, you can't not. So yeah, you got to be somewhat confident and know that you have the backing behind you. Which, I mean, the fact they didn't move on from him at his lowest, and then the way they closed out the season with the big win over Ole Miss. He kind of bought himself some time anyway,
You just said an interesting thing. He may be bringing in his successor. What if Florida
possibly
doesn't? What if Florida the next, say, 2 years, they turn in those 8-4 years, and that's not going to get it done, by the way.
Not with DJ Lagway. Yeah, you got to do better.
Two more. An 8-4, 7-5, a 7-5, 8-4 isn't going to do it. But let's say this: what if Florida goes 7-5 the next 2 years? But it's because their defense can't stop anybody. Offense is pretty good. Well, guess what? You fire Napier.
Would be the scenario.
You fire Napier and go, damn it, give it to the Spurrier guy. The offense was good.
It would get real loud real quick if that were really the case. Yeah, the Gator Nation would bring their pitchforks out. I can already see it. I mean, that scenario very likely could play out. I mean, I think if you ran the next season and the season after that 100 times, I think that scenario probably plays out at least 20 to 30 times out of 100. Very likely.
It might. All right, let's take a break. We went long here. I want to come back. We've got to spend a few minutes talking about the great Gene Hackman. the actor at 95. He and his, I think his wife was 83. Was that right? 83-year-old wife, Gene Hackman, 95, and their dog, one of the family dogs, found dead a few days ago. Their bodies were decomposing a little bit. Investigation is going on. We don't really know what the cause of death is, and I don't want to get caught up on that. I want to talk about Gene Hackman. Number one, literally one of the great American actors of all time. Just his resume. But he had what I consider not one, but two separate scenes from the same movie, not different movies, but two separate scenes from the same movie that I think would easily rank in the top 10 sports cinema movie scenes of all time. Just incredible. We're going to get to that on the other side. I think we need to talk about it. And it's both scenes are from the wonderful movie Hoosiers. Most people have seen it. If not, we'll talk about it on the other side. Terry Norvelle coming to you live, the patio. Look how tropical I look because I'm right next to the beach at Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave. So
feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Okay, possibly some more Jaguar news, kind of, sort of. And Zach, I'll have you jump in and walk me through if I'm right. Reporting off ESPN's homepage, it looks like the Chiefs are set to put their franchise tag on offensive guard Trey Smith. And I think that was a name, if Smith made it to free agency, the Jaguars might have at least kind of kicked the tires and thought about, a cup of coffee in a discussion. With am I right about that? Wasn't that one of the offensive linemen that you started hearing that, the Jaguars in free agency may make a run? So if you get the franchise tag, are you dead? Are you then tied to that team, or can you still get outbidded a little bit? I'm not positive on how that works.
If you're the franchise tag, that's basically you have to. I think you could get you can get traded to another team, but
that's not going to happen if you franchise somebody.
Right.
And am I correct? Wasn't that one of that? There's a few names starting to percolate. I remember hearing Trey Smith. If he goes free agency, maybe the Jaguars throw their hat in the ring. Wasn't he one of those guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Jaguars, because they're looking to bulk up their offensive line any way imaginable. And, the thing about offensive linemen is they just simply don't become available. Whenever one does, they kind of jump on it like sharks do. He's not going to come available because he's got to protect Patrick Mahomes.
He won't be there. All right, Zach, your history, do you remember, have you seen the movie Hoosiers? Do you know it enough to recall it?
I have not seen the movie Hoosiers. I am familiar. I do know it is about a basketball team in Indiana.
Yeah, great movie. It's it's Hollywood, but it's based off a true story in the 50s. Milan, I think, is the little town, Milan, Indiana. Way back in the 50s, and this is true. It went through maybe even the 80s. Indiana basketball, different than a lot of states. Indiana basketball, when they have state championships, they don't have private, public, everybody plays in one, right? So, that really makes it tough if you're a small little public school in the middle of Podunk, wherever, Indiana. You had to work your way through and probably play a monster school with 2,000 more students than you out of Indianapolis or something, right?
Right.
So the story goes in 56 or whatever it was, 52, 54, this little school actually did it. They rolled through. And there were some Hollywood, liberties, which Hollywood does. But the story is the great Gene Hackman was the coach. The little school, they had fired their coach. They weren't real good, and they brought in this coach who had a great resume. He had been a pretty successful coach even through the college ranks. But in the movie, this coach they brought into this little town, there was a big gap. He kind of was gone, right? And that's a bit part of this story. So anyway, do we have the clips? Do we have the clips, Zach?
We do.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to do. Jimmy, they're going to be
And this is
expecting you
the
to take the last
championship
shot.
game clip.
We're going to use you as a decoy.
And I want you to see both of these. So this is the end of the championship game, and that's the star player. Zach, can they hear me talking? I hope.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So coach is drawing up the final play, and the team is going, no, coach, we don't want to use our star player as the decoy. He should take the shot. And he's like, what's the matter with you guys? And this is the star player, Jimmy Chitwood. And he says,
I'll make it.
I'll make it. So let's stop it there. That plays into so that's the final scene of the game. The state championship game. It's a 1-point game. The good guys have the basketball. So the coach, Gene Hackman, says, hey, listen, here's what we're going to do to try and win the game. We got to make this shot. They're going to expect us to run the play to our best player, Jimmy Chitwood. You saw Jimmy, right?
Right.
He said they're going to expect it, so don't do that. Let's run him as a decoy off a screen. And, well, the rest of the team in the huddle, when they hear the coach saying that, they kind of freeze, as you saw, right? And one of the leaders, not Jimmy, but one of the leaders goes, Coach, I really think we should send it through Jimmy. And the coach, Gene Hackman, he pauses because he's always been the authoritative head coach. My way, my play, I know how to win the game, right? So the star player, you saw Jimmy, in a moment in that huddle, he looks, and he's kind of a quiet guy, the star player. He's always been just a quiet, great player. But he looks at the coach and goes, I'll make it. Meaning, no, don't use me as the decoy. Get me the ball, and I'll make it. Now, let's go back. Do you have the second cut from earlier in the movie? Okay, here you go. Look at this. So they only have 6 players. This guy right here has already had a fight with Coach Hackman right there because he's not passing the ball enough. So he's already benched this guy during the game. They only have 6 players, and 1 player just fouled out. So this guy, you with me? Zach, this guy, he gets up like he's got to go in the game because they only have 6 players, 1's fouled out. What are you trying to do? And he starts going in the game, and Coach Hackman, Gene Hackman says, where are you going? He goes, well, Coach, I got to go in the game. He goes, sit down. He's teaching this guy a lesson, and he's teaching his team a lesson. And the official comes over. Here you go. This guy says, I got to go in the game, obviously.
Sit down.
Our players fouled out. We only have 5 guys.
Sit down.
Gene Hackman, who's trying to teach his team and this guy a lesson, he says, sit back down, my man. You're not going in the game. The referee comes over and says, watch the referee.
Coach, need one more.
He says, Coach, I need your team on the court.
My team's on the floor.
And Gene Hackman says, the referee says, Coach, you only got 4 on the court. We need your team on the court. And Coach Hackman, his name was Norman Dale in the movie, he goes, my team is on the court, meaning I'm playing with 4. I'm not putting this guy back in the game because he didn't listen to me. He's teaching them a lesson. Right? This is his first year with the team. Thank you for those clips. Yeah. So he doesn't let the guy check back in because he hasn't listened. He hasn't played the game plan. And he plays the rest of the game and they lose, by the way, with 4 on 5. But he said, my team is on the court. So the dynamic in the movie, if you put it together, here's the old crusty coach that knows everything and the new job he's at. It's a hard sell to get the kids and the community to buy in, but he wants them to do it his way. Fast forward all the way, they have bumps in the road, but they win. They get to the championship game, and the final possession to win or lose the state championship game, the old crusty coach who's always done it his way, he knows he's the authority. It's always my way or the highway. He says, we're going to get the ball to a decoy and win the game. And the players go, Coach, we need to send it to Jimmy. The old coach says, you know what? You guys may be right. And he sends it in, and guess what Jimmy does?
I imagine he sinks the bucket because it's the feel-good sports movie.
Jimmy says, I'll make it in the huddle, and he goes out on the court, and he makes it.
There you go.
Makes it. Two really good, and what made Hoosiers a really good sports movie? There's a bunch of good sports movies. There's one thing, in my opinion, that really can hurt a sports movie. And that thing is the sports action, be it football, be it golf, be it shooting a basketball, be it swinging a baseball bat. A lot of times the actors don't look natural playing the sport. Yeah. And Zach Rothrock, when you're watching and you see John Goodman playing Babe Ruth in the movie and his swing, it hurts the movie. Well, Hoosiers,
yeah, that was tough.
The movie stars that played they all could play. They looked like basketball players. They shot. A lot of times, sports movies, the game action looks so hokey, it kills the movie for you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean it happens in non-sports movies. Probably even worse.
Like what example? Can you think of one?
Oh yeah, the one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is from a movie called Not Another Teen Movie.
Okay.
And there's a scene where like the main character or the guy that the girl is having a crush on, he's like the quarterback of the team, and he's out at practice throwing the ball, and the way that he's throwing the ball is so distractingly awful. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
See, you hit it. You hit it right there. A lot of your sports movies, the game action looks so bad, it kills the movie. Particularly if it's a sports movie, a large percentage of your viewers are going to be sports fans, or at least guys that played through high school. And when you remember who John Goodman was? He was the father of the show Roseanne, the big portly guy, and he got cast to play Babe Ruth in a Babe Ruth movie. Well, and it's one of the more funny ones. If you look up highlights from that movie when he's at bats, he's big and portly like Babe Ruth, but oh my God, his mannerisms.
It's tough to watch. Yeah,
his mannerisms are like that was the first time he has ever picked up a baseball bat in his life. And it hurts the movie. It hurts the scene. You know, Hoosiers, those guys played basketball. They were basketball players too. They cast them well. They were, and they didn't have great. Gene Hackman and his love interest were the big stars of the movie. The ball players, they had lines and all, but they weren't huge. So they obviously cast basketball players first that looked like high school kids second, and it worked out because they were. They had a lot of action they had a lot of action scenes in that movie. They're passing the ball and laying up. Well, it looked decent. It didn't make you. You don't want to laugh at the action in the middle of a dramatic sports movie.
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I feel like the Longest Yard, they had a lot of like former NFL players and like WWE players. I think that movie turned out pretty well. That's probably one of my top sports movies.
Sure. And, just because you're a male or female, in shape, good looking, young actor, actress, that doesn't mean necessarily if you're in a bowling movie, you're going to roll the ball down the alley and not look stupid. You're like, or a volleyball movie or a golf or swinging a golf club. You're like, ugh, I can't take this movie serious.
You never know if they're going to be a natural. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wait a minute. That's supposed to be a young Tiger Woods? No, you just killed the movie.
I saw an article. No, how true this is. I saw an article a couple of days ago that said that Keanu Reeves, when he was in The Replacements, he did so well they actually got invited to the Baltimore Ravens training camp around the 1999. That's what it said.
Come on,
Shane Falco.
That was his name.
Yeah, he was a great quarterback.
By the way, I think he's a terrible actor.
He's actually the star of one of my legitimately favorite sports movies of all time, Hardball, where he coaches a group. Yeah, he coaches a group of like inner city kids on baseball. Oh man, it's great. I mean, the kids are like.
It was a movie or a series? I'm sorry. Did you say a movie or?
It's
a series?
A movie. It's a movie, about an hour and a half or so. Keanu Reeves, he's like a gambling addict, and he's really on hard times, and he has to kind of pay off his bets. And part of the way he's got to pay off his bets is coaching this young team of inner city kids. And the kids are like, they give him no respect. They're just like cursing. It's very Bad News Bears-esque, actually. There's a lot of parallels there.
How many Academy Awards did it win?
It should have won all of them. When I think of Keanu Reeves, I think of that movie way before I think about John Wick or The Matrix. I think about him in Hardball, coaching those kids.
Well, you're deep. I tell you, Zach, you're a deep cultured guy, man.
I love that movie, man.
You're a deep cultured guy. Hey, speaking of sports, and this is more of a series. If I had $1 for, and I think it's based around soccer. Pardon me if I'm wrong. I think it's a sports series. If I had $1 for every time somebody told me, Terry, you have to watch Ted Lasso or Lasso, either Ted Lasso or Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. And it's about a European soccer team. I don't know where it's at. I can't find it. I don't know.
It's hard to. Do you know why it's hard to find? It's because it's on Apple TV. So if you don't go on there, you'll never see it.
Okay. Everybody do you know of it, and do you watch it? And what is the draw? Everybody says it's great. Is it the writing? Is it the acting? Is it the comedy?
Yeah,
Is it the
So yeah, I saw the first 2 seasons of this. I think there is a third that I haven't seen yet, but I'm open to watching it. So I mean, it's exactly what it is. I mean, it's not like the greatest and funniest thing of all time, but it's also I mean, it's got some humorous parts in it. It's an enjoyable concept for a show. I think it's good for. I think that it would.
Is it the humor that makes it? Is it the what
yeah,
makes it?
it's I'm trying to think of like what to compare it to funny wise, but it's a relatively humorous show. Yeah, it's funny. I think that it would be funny for man. I don't know. It's kind of like for cornball individuals would find it really funny. And it's not funny like the way Chappelle's show is funny. It's funny though.
Okay. And Jason Sudeikis, I think the guy from
Yeah,
Saturday
he's the
Night
main
Live.
guy.
Yeah, he's the main guy.
So like he made We're the Millers, and I feel like We're the Millers is a really funny, like actually very funny movie. But like Ted Lasso is not quite as funny as that.
I've seen We Are the Millers. I've never seen it start to finish. I've seen here and there, and every time I see a little clip or watch 20 minutes, it's funnier than hell.
Yeah,
and
so that's a really funny movie.
It's mindless. It's mindless. I feel like I just wasted an hour and 45 minutes of my life. Funny, but it's still funny.
I understand that. Yeah, really but Ted Lasso is also it's kind of one of those shows where they're big on like giving you like the life lessons and like everyone grows and there's relationships, kind of like that sort of thing. So it's not like a Seinfeld. It's more of like a drama type thing.
The funniest series I watched, and it was in its first run probably 6 or 7 years ago. And damn it, I cannot think of the name of it. But it was really well written. It was very fast, witty one-liners. It was the one where it was based off of a Major League Baseball play-by-play guy that he did something in his career where he got knocked down to the minors.
Brockmire.
Yeah,
with the guy from The Simpsons that did all the voices. Hank Ariza is the
Ariza. He was the star. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it stretched a little bit. It was too silly, but it was quick and witty and funny. And Brockmire was hilarious in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I felt like so. My take on that show, I feel like that should have been a movie. I think it got stretched out a little too long, making it a TV show. Yeah. But yeah, it's really good for that first season or so. Really good.
I agree with that. I watched a lot of it, and most of your series do that. They number one, when they're still making money, they're gonna wring every dollar they can wring out of it, which means they're gonna take it probably 2 or 3 seasons too long, right? They jump the comedy or drama. A lot of times your series, you've got a good 3 years, maybe 3 seasons, maybe 4 to keep the quality up. But if you start going 5, 6, and 7, but you can't turn away from the money, right? And you say, well, we can do one more year.
Yeah, that's what happens with Lost.
Yes, I'm with you, though. Brockmire was a lot like him. After that second or third season, you're banging out 26 a year or whatever. It's hard to keep, particularly comedy, or even drama, all of that, drama or comedy. It's hard to keep that level up high, that bar.
Yeah, drama feels like it should be 3 to 5 seasons. So European shows typically don't get past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But
I've told the story many times, I think on this show too. The great drama series, The Sopranos. I didn't watch it when it was first run, but I caught it, afterwards. I think I watched it during the COVID. And then I did a little I did a little reading on it, and it was interesting. And keep in mind that's a heavy drama, right? You better have good storylines. That's a heavy drama. When I did a little research, I said, "What's the deal with Sopranos?" I missed it the first time. It's really good. The David somebody, the guy that wrote it and put it on, the main guy, his entire plan was 5 seasons, no more. and they went 5 seasons because of that. He said, man, I think we got something here. We got picked up, but this is going to be – and they ended after 5 seasons on purpose. They could have – and the way it ended with the Don't Stop Believing, the Journey song and in the diner, they could have milked another 2 or 3 and lost quality, but nope. They did 5 seasons and got out from a quality standpoint.
Yeah, that's the best format to do it, and that's what you want to do. You can tell when a show is blueprinted like that. Breaking Bad is like that. They clearly had
it went a little far.
Yeah, they clearly had an end game they were going towards.
I love Breaking Bad, but that 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever season, it got a little. There were some episodes you're like, dude, they threw this in, man. They threw in the towel in this episode. I'm right now watching Mad Men. Every time I get home, I'm watching Mad Men because it's on. I've seen it a million times, and there are episodes that I watch. I go, man, they didn't have anything this episode. They just kind of spun their wheel, right? Overall,
they could just have Christina Hendricks walk in and out of the room 20 times, and I'd be okay with the episode.
But I mean, overall, it was good. But there were some you were like that season was average, or man, that episode they had nothing. They had nothing. They just were spinning their wheels. That was a good one. That was a
there's filler episodes sometimes. Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing though, man. Binge watching a series will wear your ass out, man. And you get caught up in it. You'll get home tonight and start binge watching something, and you'll go, all right, I know it's 8:00. I'm gonna watch 2. 8:30. And then all right, one more. And then one more is 2 more. And then one more. And you look up, it's midnight. You're like, what the hell? That's wear you out, man.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process. The wife and I we're not doing a series or TV series. We're doing a whole movie series. Neither of us had ever seen any of the Marvel superhero movies. So we're doing the whole ones in order. They're all on the Disney Plus.
I don't know. What are they?
So like centrally it would be the Avengers. So this is like Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and so it's all their movies.
Those individually. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So they all have movies, and then basically Samuel L. Jackson is just in it with an eye patch, and that's how they're all connected. That's as far as I can tell.
With an eye patch.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson comes in with an eye patch, and he's all like, "I'm recruiting you. You're the Avengers. This is our initiative."
He's the leader.
And he gets to say the F word at some point. Yeah.
So it's it's not cartoons, it's actual human actors.
Yeah, this is like the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Yeah, the all the Chris's, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt. What's the other one? The Captain America is also a Chris.
Who was
Chris Pine.
It wasn't you. It might have been you. I don't think it was you though. I was literally talking to somebody this is no more than 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
And I know what it was. I was working down at the arena, and we were in the break room and the TV on, and the Robert Downey Iron Man movie. Is that what it's called, Iron Man?
Yeah. I am Iron Man.
Yep.
Yeah, Robert Downey's Iron Man.
That movie where he was the head of the big corporation, and they don't know he's Iron Man, right? They don't know he's the guy or something.
That's like the first one, yeah.
Yeah. So we're watching that one, and I get talking to some of these young kids. We're talking guys in their 20s. We're watching the movie, and somehow, the song. Dun, dun,
oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm just talking in passing, and I tell these guys, I go, yeah, that's awesome how that movie and that Iron Man and that song is called Iron Man, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne before he went off on a solo career. And these guys looked at me like I was 150. They had they go, what? I go, yeah, that great song. Well, that great song, which is called Iron Man. I mean, obviously, it's the perfect song for the movie.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for it to drop the whole movie. It plays like the closing credits.
But these kids that song's from about 1968. It was a group called Black Sabbath, and this guy you've probably heard of, Ozzy Osbourne, was the lead singer of Black Sabbath. That was one of their first big hits, and then Ozzy peeled off and they looked at me like they thought that was a song created from the movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I go, but it is kind of a coincidence. A great song that fits a movie, Iron Man called Iron Man. That is a coincidence. bit of a coincidence.
I'm not sure what. Yeah, I think Iron Man. I think that Iron Man existed before the song. I think the song is based on the character. The comic books. The comic books came out in the early '60s.
But I don't think they wrote that song off the comic books. I think that was just a song that Black Sabbath, the great hard rock band, they wrote a song and it was called Iron Man. I think. I don't think they wrote that.
Yeah. The AI says that it's not based on it. It's about a man who travels to the future and sees the apocalypse.
Yeah. But
right.
The famous Black Sabbath song, Iron Man,
fits
that movie perfect. It had to be the song in the movie.
Yeah, you got to pay it in there. You got to pay whatever it costs.
The younger kids I was talking to, they were blown away. They thought that was like Steven Spielberg made a movie or whoever made it and said and hired some band. No, that song just happened to match up perfect with it. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was waiting for it to drop the whole time. I was ready for it.
He who was it? That Robert Downey Jr., he played that character really good too, didn't he? He played that
he's the best. Yeah,
he played that, and then
out of all the superheroes, I feel like he's the best.
He fell out of the building because he told her goodbye and fell out of the boot, and then he goes flying away because he turns into Iron Man. And there's that song playing. The song fit perfect, didn't it?
Iron Man. Of course it does.
All right, Zach, you could be Iron Man the rest of the night, but I'm getting out of here, buddy.
We got
I'm getting out of here. Hey, good fun Thursday. We want to thank, of course, our folks here at Sliders Oyster Bar. Boy, the patio's full, the interior. What a night to get out. If you're in the Neptune Beach area and you want to get out and enjoy some fresh air, not a cloud in the sky, get down, have some seafood at Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach. That'll wrap it up. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll get together tomorrow, and we'll wrap up the week. A lot of previewing going into the weekend. The Young and Norvelle Show continues tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here on Action Sports Jax.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jax Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jax Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jax Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream same channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GM